All right, buckle up everybody, because today we are diving into some deep waters. You ready?
Always ready to dive in. Let's do it.
Awesome. So we're tackling Listen, Little Man today. And let me tell you, this essay is a firecracker. It was written back in 1945 by Wilhelm Reich.
Yeah, Reich was a fascinating figure, a scientist, a psychiatrist. You might have heard of him because of his theories on orgone energy. It got him into some hot water, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely ahead of his time. Maybe a little too far for some folks back then. But in Listen, Little Man, he's not focused on orgone energy. He's going right at the heart of human behavior, taking aim at the average person.
You're not holding back. He really lays into this idea that people, ordinary folks, actually contribute to their own oppression. Like, they almost invite it. It's a tough pill to swallow, but he makes a compelling case.
He doesn't. It makes you think, like, am I part of the problem? And reading this now, in the age of social media, well, let's just say it hits differently.
It's almost eerie how much it resonates. Here's Reich in 1945, grappling with the aftermath of World War II. Trying to understand how people could be so easily seduced by these, frankly, evil ideologies.
Right, and then you look around today and you see the same patterns playing out online, don't you?
Absolutely. It's like some things just don't change. Human nature, I guess. And this is where Reich's concept of the little man comes into play.
The little man, yeah, he talks about that a lot. But he's not talking about, like, someone who's short, is he?
No, not at all. It's more of an archetype, a way of thinking, really. He's describing a certain kind of person, someone who is easily swayed by authority figures, someone who craves security over freedom, always going for the quick fix, the easy answer, even if it means ignoring the bigger picture, the long-term consequences.
Okay, so, like, are we talking about those people who fall for those online scams?
Yeah.
The ones that promise you'll get rich quick, or those who blindly follow whatever some influencer is peddling?
You're getting warm, for sure. Reich dives deep into this idea that the little man just can't handle complexity. They want things simplified, even if it means oversimplifying to the point of being wrong. It's like they're allergic to nuance, always wanting the easy-to-digest version of reality.
Man, that is so social media.
Right.
Everything's got to be a meme, a soundbite, a quick hit of outrage. Who's got time for nuance anymore?
And who needs critical thinking when you've got algorithms to do it for you?
Ouch, that stings a little. But you're right, though. It's so easy to just get swept up in the echo chamber, to surround yourself with people who already agree with you. It's comfortable, but it doesn't challenge you to grow.
And that lack of growth, that's where the danger lies. Reich even talks about how the little man actually devours their own happiness by choosing ignorance over understanding. It's like they're sabotaging themselves without even realizing it.
That's a heavy thought.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel like there's this, this laziness, this unwillingness to really grapple with complex issues. It's easier to just react emotionally, to get caught up in the outrage cycle.
And that's exactly what Reich was warning against. He saw this happening back in his day, and he was terrified of what it meant for the future. And now, with social media amplifying everything, well, it's a whole new ballgame, isn't it?
So what do we do? If Reich is right, and we're all susceptible to this little man mentality, how do we break free? Social media is everywhere. It's how we connect, how we stay informed, how we even make a living sometimes. Are we all doomed to become Reich's little men?
That's the million-dollar question. But Reich wasn't all doom and gloom. He actually offers a way out, a counterpoint to the little man. He calls it the great man.
The great man, huh? Sounds a bit, a bit old-fashioned.
Maybe, but hear me out. This isn't about some kind of superhero or anything. It's about a way of thinking, a way of being in the world. Think of someone who's willing to think for themselves, to question authority, to seek out the truth even when it's uncomfortable. Someone who's not afraid of challenging the status quo.
So basically the opposite of the little man.
Yeah.
Someone who's not afraid to rock the boat a little.
Exactly. Someone who's willing to step outside their comfort zone, to engage with complexity, to embrace the messy, beautiful chaos of reality. That's what Reich saw as the antidote to the little man mentality.
It's a tall order, for sure. Especially in today's world, where it feels like everything's designed to keep us in our little bubbles, to feed us what we want to hear, to make us feel good about ourselves, even when we're not really challenging ourselves to grow.
And that's why it's more important than ever to be aware of these patterns, to be critical of what we see online, to choose our influences carefully, and to never stop asking questions. Because ultimately, our freedom, our happiness, even our sanity depends on our ability to break free from the little man within.
And that's a powerful thought to leave us with. But there's so much more to unpack here, right?
Oh yeah, we're just scratching the surface. And things are about to get really interesting as we delve into Reich's idea of the emotional plague. Buckle up, it's a wild ride. So the emotional plague, right. It's this idea that we suppress our natural impulses, our feelings, especially around, sexuality. And that causes all sorts of problems. It messes us up inside, and it messes up society too. And it might sound a little outdated, but stick with me because I think it's super relevant to our lives online.
Okay, I'm listening. Convince me. How does something Reich was writing about way back when apply to our Instagram feeds and TikTok trends today?
Well, think about it. How much of social media is about presenting this perfect version of yourself? Everybody's trying to get the best selfie, writing those clever captions, showing off their amazing life. It's like we're all stuck in this endless highlight reel.
Oh yeah, totally. You can't just be yourself. You got to be the best, most interesting, most whatever version of yourself, at least online, right?
Yeah. Right. And that can lead to what they call emotional armoring. It's like we put on this mask, this persona, and we're afraid to show who we really are, Our flaws, our insecurities, our vulnerabilities, because we're so scared of being judged or rejected.
Which I guess is a form of repression, just like Reich was talking about, only it's happening online now.
Exactly. And this gap between who we really are and the person we're pretending to be online, that's where the trouble starts. It messes with our self-esteem, our relationships, even our mental health.
Makes sense. We trade real connection for likes and followers. Kind of a raw deal, if you ask me.
It is. And then there's Reich's point about security over freedom. Remember that. The little man is always choosing safety and conformity over true freedom.
Yeah. But how does that play out online? What does that even look like?
Okay, well, think about how quickly we click accept on those cookie policies, or how we avoid saying what we really think because we're afraid of backlash, or how we're constantly filtering ourselves, editing our thoughts and feelings before we share them.
Yeah. I guess we're making compromises all the time without even realizing it. Trading our privacy for convenience, authenticity for approval, and I guess critical thinking for just fitting in.
It's like we're being nudged in certain directions, herded along by algorithms and those who control them.
Yeah, a little creepy when you think about it like that. So, is Reich just trying to bum us out here? I mean, he lays out this pretty bleak picture of human nature. Is there any hope?
Well, Reich's not about bringing us down. He wants to wake us up. He believed that if we understand these patterns, if we see how we're contributing to the problem, then we can actually change things. We can break free and create a better way of living.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we break free from this little man trap? Where do we even begin?
It's not easy. And Reich doesn't give us a step-by-step guide, but he does give us some clues. Remember the great man. Those qualities, thinking for yourself, questioning, being willing to be truthful even when it's hard. Those are the keys.
So we need to, level up our thinking. Be more critical of what we see online. More conscious of who we're following and why.
It's all about awareness. Seeing social media for what it is. It's a tool. It can be used for good or bad. It all depends on how we use it.
It's not the hammer that's the problem, it's the person swinging it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And being aware of that little man that might be lurking inside us, that voice that wants to play it safe, avoid complexity, and just get those easy likes and validation.
Oh, I know that voice all too well.
We all do. But recognizing it is the first step to breaking free from it. And not just online, but in every part of our lives.
Okay, I get that. But this whole emotional plague thing.
Yeah.
I know, it still feels a little, old-fashioned. We've come a long way since the 1940s in terms of how we view sexuality.
No, you're right. Reich's views on sexuality were controversial, even back then. And some of his ideas haven't aged well. But I think there's still a valuable core idea there if we strip away some of the outdated language and focus on the underlying concept.
Okay, walk me through that. What's the essence of it?
Well, Reich thought that when we repress our natural impulses, when we shut down any part of ourselves, it creates this rigidity. We lose our vitality, our life force gets stifled. And this affects everything from our bodies to how we interact with others to our political beliefs. It all gets kind of twisted and distorted.
So it's not just about repressing our sexuality, it's about not allowing ourselves to be who we truly are.
Yeah, that's it. And when you think about social media, that could be anything. Feeling pressure to conform to certain beauty standards, not speaking up because your opinion isn't popular, or feeling like you have to be someone you're not to fit in. It's that fear of not being good enough that makes us shut down.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Right.
It's so easy to feel inadequate when you're scrolling through everyone's highlight reel. And then you start shutting down your own unique spark.
That's it. And that's what Reich might have called a symptom of the emotional plague. It's like we're denying our full human experience. We lose touch with our authentic selves.
And like we were saying before, that makes us easier to manipulate. When we don't know who we are, what we believe, it's easy for others to tell us what to think, what to feel, what to buy.
And that brings us right back to the little man. It's all connected. The more we suppress ourselves, the more vulnerable we become to those who want to exploit us.
It's like a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
The more we try to fit in, the more we lose ourselves. And the more we lose ourselves, the easier it is to get sucked into, I don't know, the Matrix or something.
Exactly. But the good news is we can break that cycle. It starts with awareness. Noticing when we're holding back, censoring ourselves, or trying to be someone we're not.
So being more mindful online, catching ourselves when we're playing the comparison game, challenging that voice that tells us we're not good enough.
Yes, reclaiming our power, one step at a time, and also finding spaces, both online and offline, where we can be ourselves, connecting with people who get us, expressing ourselves freely without fear of judgment.
Like creating little pockets of resistance against the emotional plague, little bubbles of authenticity where we can reconnect with ourselves and support each other.
I love that. Like planting seeds, little seeds of change, one authentic interaction at a time.
That's a really good question. And I think it kind of highlights one of the big misunderstandings about Reich's work. Like, was he saying that only a few special people get to be great and everyone else is stuck being a little man? Because that doesn't sound very hopeful.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But I don't think that's what Reich was getting at. It wasn't about some kind of elite club or hierarchy. It wasn't like, oh, you're a great individual and you're stuck being a little man for life.
So it's not like there are only a few chosen ones who get to be enlightened or whatever.
Right. It's not about being chosen or special. I think Reich would say that we all have the potential for what he called greatness. That ability to live authentically, to think critically, to care about something bigger than ourselves. It's more about like how we choose to live, the choices we make every day, rather than some kind of, I don't know, some kind of inborn trait that only some people have.
So it's not about who you are, but what you do. Like how you show up in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the real hope is. Because if greatness is a choice, then anyone can choose it. It doesn't matter where you come from or how many followers you have on Instagram or even what you think your flaws are. We all have that capacity within us.
I'm liking this. It's giving me be the change you want to see in the world vibes.
You know, that's funny you should say that because Reich actually ends Listen, Little Man on a pretty hopeful note. He kind of imagines this future where the little man wakes up and realizes his own potential, where people drop their defenses, their emotional armor, and embrace the good that's inside them. It's not all doom and gloom. He really did believe in humanity.
So you're saying he believed that we can actually evolve past this whole little man thing, like as a species?
He did. He saw it as like a phase, a kind of growing pain that we all go through. He thought that humans are capable of so much love, connection, creativity. But all of that good stuff gets buried under fear, under all the stuff that the little man represents.
So it's like we have to dig deep and unearth that goodness that's already there, that's been there all along, kind of like an archaeological dig into our own souls.
I like that. It's like we have to break free from the limitations that we've imposed on ourselves and reconnect with that source of good stuff. It's a challenge for sure.
Yeah, a challenge for sure. But it sounds kind of exciting too, right? Like a big adventure.
I think so. It's a journey of self-discovery. It's about learning to be more aware, more courageous, more willing to be truly alive, even when it's hard. It's about recognizing that the little man mentality is a choice, a path we take when we're too afraid to be who we really are.
So by choosing differently, by choosing to be brave and authentic, we're not just making our own lives better, we're actually contributing to something much bigger.
Exactly. And that's a powerful thought, especially now when there's so much uncertainty and division in the world. It's a reminder that we all have the power to choose to be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
To tap into our own inner greatness and
that.
use it to make the world a little bit better.
I love that. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Listen, Little Man, I want to leave you with this question. How are you showing up in the world, both online and offline? Are you falling into those little man traps? Or are you actively choosing to cultivate your own greatness? It's a question worth asking ourselves every day and every interaction and every choice we make.
Yeah, because the world we create is a reflection of those choices. It's not just about liking a post or sharing a meme. It's about the energy we bring to everything we do online.
And remember, this conversation doesn't end here. Keep questioning, keep exploring, keep choosing that path of greatness in your own way.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. It's been intense, but really eye-opening.
And until next time, keep diving deep.